Hello, everyone. We are here at the opening night of A Doll's House, starring Jessica Chastain, the show is being directed by Jamie Lloyd. We have a very exciting night ahead of us. We have some incredible conversations with the star-studded cast, as well as an incredible list of VIP guests who are attending the opening night of A Doll's House here at the Hudson Theater. Very exciting stuff. Stay tuned.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Eli, and I'm with Take a Bow on the Broadway Podcast Network. Nice to meet you, Mike. We're here at the opening night. Tell me how we're feeling. How excited are we to get this message across?
You and me, how are we both feeling?
Well,
I mean, I don't know you very well. But you seem like you're in a good mood. I'm in a good mood. I'm in a very good mood. I mean, how lucky we are to get to do this. How lucky we are to tell this amazing story at a moment when millions of women across the world are standing up for their rights, starting in Iran, a women's-led movement. It feels very timely. The design of the play is impeccable. Jamie Lloyd's a fucking genius. And this little six-hander play with some of the best actors in the country. I mean, it's a dream. It's a dream. I mean, really, it's trite to say that, but I mean, it feels like a dream. It really does sometimes. You're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I mean, this show is like iconic. It's been around forever. I'm curious to know about this like adaptation. What are you excited for audiences to come see, and the differences that what can they expect that surprises maybe?
Well, first of all, Amy Herzog's adaptation is genius.
Yeah.
It's timeless. It honors the classical text. She really nerded out with, native speaker of going through each word and what are the different connotations and denotations to bring this kind of adaptation to life. And then the naked, spare aesthetic of our production. I feel like there is a hunger on the part of both audiences and artists since the pandemic to kind of take a breath and remind ourselves how little we actually need to do this art form. And I feel like it's one of the most caretaking of an audience productions I've ever been a part of, because it gifts the audience with so much participation in terms of you're filling in what that set looks like. You're filling in some of these transitions, and it just feels very humane. And I think we need that right now.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to see this show, especially during Women's History Month, with all of the women power in this show and the story that I feel like it's a woman empowerment story in a lot of ways. Yeah, for sure.
Amen.
Well, I have one last question for you. I'm a podcast. We're podcast network. If you ever had a podcast, and what would you talk about, and who would be your dream co-host?
You, because you seem like you know what you're doing. I think that's true for I. Right. So we'll do a podcast together. I would talk about, why don't we pair a wine, and we review the wine, with a building and its level of accessibility.
That sounds perfect.
We're doing a Malbec today. It's $12. It's a great steal. The elevators in the building are out.
There you go.
Yeah, don't go.
I'll sign the contract, but as long as I don't get in trouble. I am underage, so...
Well, there's non-alcoholic wine.
There you go.
Yeah.
We can do the grape juice.
Yeah. No, you're going to do the grape juice.
Yeah.
And I'll do the adult version of the grape juice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good, how are you?
I'm doing excellent, thank
I'm
you.
Eli. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh my God, nice handshake. Wow, impressive.
Thank you.
Very exciting. We're here at the opening night of A Doll's House. How are you feeling?
I am so excited.
Yeah.
Honestly, this production has been such a gift in my life, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity, and I cannot wait to share this show with this beautiful, beautiful show with the Broadway community and for the New York community and everyone else who comes to see it.
Yeah. Well, this show, I mean, it's iconic. The play's been around for ages, and I just can't wait to see this this new production of it. Can you talk to me a little bit about, what you're excited for audiences to come see, maybe something that will surprise them that's different from other productions?
Absolutely. We have a beautiful and incredibly talented playwright, Amy Herzog, who's done the adaptation, and she's done an incredible job at making this play so accessible, and I think allowing viewers to connect with these characters in a way that not even not possible, but just hasn't been seen before. She highlights a gorgeous humanity in each of these people, and also the complexities of these humans and in these characters. And I'm just so excited for audiences to hear these words, because they're stunning. She's she's a star. Amy Herzog. There is no Doll's House in this production without her gorgeous, gorgeous words, and it is a gift to see them every day. So.
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, this cast and creative seems so tight and so appreciative of one another. What is the relationship like backstage and your preparation
It's
process?
exactly that.
Yeah.
We all are champions for one another, support one another, love one another. We do a warm-up before every show where we got on stage for 10 minutes and play silly games, and it's just a beautiful way for us to connect. And it's not this element of we go to our dressing rooms and then we see each other for the first time on stage. I think the relationships in this play are so, they're woven so tightly that you could only have a cast of actors be able to weave their own personalities and their own, what do I want to say? It's that closeness that you see on stage and the strength and the bond and sort of that interwovenness of each other would not be possible if we did not have that relationship off stage, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. And honestly, it's kind of a rare thing, especially, all of you come from wildly different backgrounds and everything, but you all have such experience in the industry. And so just the fact that, y'all are true pros and you're still willing to, just connect with one another and just take it back to its roots is awesome.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I am in awe of all the actors I work with. It is, again, I can't stop talking highly enough about them because it really is for me a gift to sit back and watch their performances every night and to learn from them and to grow together. And it really is an absolute honor and privilege to step on that stage every night. There's no other words that can describe it.
I love it. Well, I mean, the lead of the show is a badass woman, and both the character and Jessica, of course. And I'm curious to talk to you about, maybe the importance of opening this production of this show during Women's History Month.
Oh my gosh, in so many ways. I mean, we see Nora, who through the journey of the play discovers how to advocate for herself and realizing that the life that she has isn't exactly what she thought, and being brave enough to take a stand and walk out and change the trajectory of her life. And I think for women, how wonderful it is to be reminded that you have the power, and not just women, but everyone. We all have the power to change the trajectory of our life and to advocate for ourselves and to choose happiness and to find happiness. And I think it's wonderful to see that in Nora. And I think playing Christine, who also has come in, she's sort of on the other side where she's starting to play and already having realized that and saying, I am going to advocate for myself. I've sacrificed so much for other people, and this is the first time that I'm choosing to put myself first. And so you've kind of got that symmetry of kind of Christine already at the end of that journey, and then watching Nora get there as well. It's really empowering and powerful.
Yeah, it's a very important story and message to get across currently, today. Well, I'm very excited for it. I have one last question for you.
Absolutely.
I mean, A Doll's House. Did you ever grow up playing with a doll that you...
Are you kidding me?
Which was it? Which one? You gotta tell me.
Oh, I had a lot of stuffed animals. I had Barbies. I had these Quince dolls. I don't even think they make them anymore, where they were quintuplets in a pack, and then there was a babysitter. But Barbie was always in my life. But I loved stuffed animals, and I loved creating worlds for them. So yes, absolutely. It's so funny. I have a 5-year-old, and she is now in the doll phase as well. She's playing with old dolls. She's playing with old stuffed animals and stuffies and giving them life, and it's a beautiful, it's beautiful to see that now. But yes, I was all about the dolls. I had a dollhouse. There you go. And I bought my daughter a dollhouse as well. So, yes.
Full circle moment. Well, thank you so much. Break a leg on the rest of your ride. Nice to meet you. My name is Eli.
Eli, really good to meet you too.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Opening night of
Thank
your
you.
application. Very exciting. Talk
you.
to me about it, because your cast members have been absolutely just raving reviews for you and the love for you. So talk to me about what this production and this story means to you.
Well, first of all, I'm very moved by that. It's been such a warm room and just a amazing place to spend time and make work, and I'm so grateful to have been brought into it. Wait, sorry, what was your question? I got so distracted by...
Talk to me about the importance of what this story means to you and this new version, I guess.
Right. I've loved this play for a really long time, and I've tangled with this play for a really long time. I did my own kind of weird, distant adaptation a long time ago, and seen a lot of productions. And I guess what I'd say is that it meant one thing to me as a young woman. It meant it was a pretty straightforward story about a woman who was oppressed, kind of breaking out of her chains. And now I see it in a more complex light, and I see the ways she participates in her own oppression, the way she authors the story herself of who she is that she eventually has to then part with. And to me, that's much more interesting and complicated and much more like what we deal with today in terms of our roles being limited by the world and also by ourselves.
Absolutely. And you touch on how much this show kind of impacted you as a young woman. Talk to me about the importance, right now, because in a lot of ways, this is a woman-empowered story led by a badass woman. So talk to me about how important it is to, open this show during Women's History Month and what it means for, young women to come see this show.
Yeah, well, it's funny. The Women's History Month is such an amazing coincidence. I love it. I didn't even realize. But I just hope when young women see this show, they ask themselves, what deals have I struck without even thinking about it and recognizing it? Where are the places in my life where I've compromised on something? And it may have been a good decision at the time, but has it painted me into a corner, and is it still serving me? That's, because I think it's of course there's a lot of overt sexism in our world, but that's very easy to identify and therefore a little less frightening and insidious than all the ways that our freedom is limited that we may not even be recognizing as it's happening.
Absolutely. I'm curious because this cast just raves about you. I want to give you the opportunity to maybe rave about them a little bit.
Please.
Talk to me about how they've helped this process of adapting this piece here.
Yeah, I mean, they've just helped with their extraordinary talent, getting so deep inside these characters, showing me, what is there in the adaptation. There were times when I realized we don't need this whole section. Their acting is so layered. There's so much coming across that the audience is going to get ahead of it if we actually, include these few lines or whatever. They just invested in it so deeply and cared so much about each other, cared so much about Jamie, the director. And I think, it sounds a little like woo-woo or something, but I think you can feel the difference when you're in an audience between a show where people care deeply about each other and what they're doing and a show where they're, it's a job.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm so excited to see the show. The show is a story that needs to be told right now, so I can't wait. Thank you for doing this. I have one final question for you. As it is called a doll's house, I have to ask if when you were a kid, did you play with dolls or did you have a favorite toy that you played with, and what was it?
That's okay. I love that. I wasn't huge into dolls. I was the kid who got Barbie dolls, but chopped their hair off to crew cuts, and then regretted it and was like, "What have I done?" But my younger daughter, loves American Girl dolls, and she is obsessed and wants to go to the store all the time and she's obsessed with all the little accoutrements and stuff. And it's just really interesting to be coming to work here and then going home to this little girl for whom dolls have this almost enchanted power. There's something deep in it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations, and break a leg on your run.
Thanks so much.
Yes.
How are you doing? I wanted to tell you, I went to DEPT.
No!
Yeah, I am a computer.
Oh, but a music theater?
Musical theater. I didn't have, well, my girlfriend was a student.
Oh, what's your student? What's your girlfriend?
Jessie.
Oh my God.
I think the pandemic, but
Oh, how is Jessie?
Oh, she's great. She says hello.
Please say hello back. I'm still teaching there.
Oh, yeah, I know. I saw. I was
Yeah.
that's fantastic. That's so good. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Everything to do with Broadway.
Thank you so much.
I was in the middle school too, so I know
Oh, my God. So you were a student of ours. You were an alumni of ours.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know that I've known you.
No. I don't do any. I don't teach any classes in the middle school.
Right.
Yeah, it's just that is the one. I used to teach for 3 years middle school. It's just not. I'm just not good at it. It's okay. I'm not good at it. I'm good at high school.
Yeah, no, they rage.
Oh, well, tell them hello. I miss Jessie and all those folks. Please tell them.
Oh, I absolutely will. Saha, Guerrero, all those.
Oh, Saha, I talk to all the
I
time.
know, Saha's a good friend.
No, I love Saha.
the best. Well, thank you so much. We're here obviously at the opening night of the Doll's House. Very exciting stuff. So talking about how you're
It's amazing. It's amazing to be back here. It's amazing to be doing another Broadway show. It's amazing to be doing this Broadway show at this time. It's amazing to be doing it with these amazing people like Jessica and Amy and Jamie and Oak and Tasha and Mike and Jazzelle and everyone. It's an honor, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, but obviously I just kind of like outed you that you were a teacher at the performing arts school. I was talking to the cast and they talked about before the show you guys had some rituals when that place. Is that kind of led by you? And
No, oddly, it's not. Which goes to show you how amazing this company is.
Oh my God.
No, because we're all teachers.
Yeah.
Jasmille's a teacher, Mike's a teacher, Oak's a teacher. So yeah, the warm up before is one of the kind of like magical moments where we all can get together and kind of be silly and fun. And Jamie Lloyd made this thing called the grid, which is essentially everyday before rehearsal we would all walk on this grid together as a company in silence, and it brought us so close together. It felt like being in a PPAS Waterwell class.
There you
know what I
go.
mean? It felt like you're doing those exercises. So it's just an honor to be a part of all that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this. I mean, the Doll's House is iconic. So talk to me about what it means to be doing a new adaptation with Jamie and
Amy and Jamie.
Yeah, and also working with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, all I can say is it's amazing. I don't have a relationship with Doll's House. To be honest with you, when I moved to the city in 2002, the chances of an Iranian actor playing Thurber was like 1 in like 0. You know what I mean? So I kind of, I just kind of put this play away as like not something that I'm ever going to do, to be honest with you. And then all of a sudden it comes around, and so I don't really have a deep relationship with Doll's House. Even teaching-wise, I don't really pick scenes from Doll's House. I don't really know the play. Now I do. But it is, it's amazing to be able to do this play because we're living in a world. I'm Iranian, born in Iran, and there's an Iranian revolution led by women happening right now. And many Iranians have seen the show and feel that Thurber represents the Islamic regime that's been oppressing all the Noras in Iran. And that's kind of why I'm here, and that's what I thought might actually happen. So I'm thrilled to be able to move the needle, kind of like what we do with Broadway, to move the needle a little bit by using art as a source for change.
Well, I mean, I know you don't have like a history, but I love the personal connection that you kind of have with the story going on right now. When you touch on the
Revolution.
Yeah, exactly. It's going on right now. Like, talk to me about the importance of young women coming to see the show right now with the guys and of the show during
I think not only women but men as well should come see this, because so much of what you see here is Nora making choices that society has put on her, mostly by men. And now all of a sudden she has a choice to be like, oh, I'm going to do this myself. I think we all, I hope one day, I'm so sorry, I hope one day that this play is dated and not good. That's my dream. Because the reason is we as a society have put women in boxes that don't even deserve to be there. And we don't even know why we're living by these rules. And when Nora at the end of the day kind of starts figuring that out, all of us start figuring it out. So why is it important for young women to see it, or young men to see it, or everyone? It's because we need to start unpacking it like Nora is unpacking it.
You've been a movie star recently.
A movie star.
You're killing it. All facets of the industry. What is it about the theater that just like brings you back?
I'm just going to say this because as a PPS.
Yeah.
Waterwell always talks about this, but the theater is the best tool to use your empathy muscles.
Yeah.
And if everybody had a class where they actually see what it feels like to be a Deborah Seals, to be Willie Loman, Nora, to be the characters from Raising in the Sun. If everyone gets a chance to listen and hear those people perform that and see that, the empathy just starts getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And so that's why you go back to the theater. The game of empathy between inside the audience and the actors and everyone in between doesn't happen in any other form like that. That's so visceral.
Wow, I love it. I'm here in my favorite by far.
Mine too. Especially when you get to do it with Jessica Chastain. Look at that. Diversity.
Yeah.
And she's okay looking.
I gotta ask, final question. It is called a doll's house. Did you have a doll or an animal or toy or anything that you played?
Very good question. I had 2 imaginary friends.
Yes, that's so good.
For 2 years, and I had 2 imaginary friends. And by the end, my parents were like, I think something's wrong with this child.
No, that's amazing.
Thank you so much. Please say hello to all those lovely, beautiful children, adults.
Yeah, no, literally. I gotta get it. Oh no. I don't know. I don't think I was recording.
Oh, you were.
I was. Can you hear? I bet you can hear it. It's okay. Well, I gotta get a picture of that.
Yeah.
So I think to say like, this is what the audience is assuming.
Thank you. Oh my God, this is awesome.
Thank you. Maybe. At least see your face, though. At least see your face. Yeah.
Somehow, somewhere. I was
to see you.
always with them, so yeah.
Good to see you. Say hello to all those kids.
Oh my God.
I miss all of them.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say that, we had COVID in there.
Yeah, I know. That's
We made it a monologue class.
Yeah, exactly. They told me all about it. They loved you.
Oh, I love that.
Good, thanks. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Happy opening. We're here at a doll's house. I'm Eli, by the way, with
Eli,
Tokash.
my name is Oak. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. I was actually, fun fact, I was in Finding Neverland across the street from you while you guys were in Hamilton. And so I was a part of all of the, no entrance on the street. The streets were blocked off. It was craziness.
Yeah, you were with Matthew.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, of course. Love him. So
Yeah.
it's cool to meet you now and see you, continue to have success here. And now we're here at the opening. So talk to me about this show. Talk to me how cool it is to be a part of this adaptation of one of the theater's most iconic plays.
It's been great. Solid group of artists. It truly is an ensemble piece. Jessica has been amazing and gracious. Jamie is awesome and clear in his direction. Amy's writing is really on point. We're more or less saying everything verbatim, it really is a room of just a yes and attitude and people really wanting to create something for the honor and sake of creating a thing.
Absolutely.
I've said it before in other interviews, like at this level it can be very product based or goal oriented and it has to look this way and make sure it looks that way or make sure it stands out from other shows in this way, but that really wasn't kind of the impetus for the show. It's how can we keep it as distilled and rooted and grounded and simple as possible. And I'm grateful that every cast member being led by Jessica said yes and it's like that's the goal.
Absolutely.
Let's create distilled, honest moments.
Yeah. It seems like the ensemble of the cast, the relationships that you all have formed has been truly special. People were talking to me about the pre-show warm-up that y'all do on stage and everything like that. What does that kind of do for a performance, to have that kind of relationship with your scene partners?
It's no different than sports. I have a sports background. It's like any sports team before they go out, there's a literal huddle. It's coming together to check in and look at your scene partner and say, we're here, we're going to do this. And again, in this industry, sometimes that can get lost. But it takes me back to being in school, when you have your class or doing random downtown theater or something at the Producers Club in New York where all you have is each other. And in order for this thing to work, we have to just have each other's back and look each other in the eye before the show and say, how are you? Great. Let's go do the thing.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And especially with the pros of the cast, to kind of really make sure that you have that foundation to go do it 8 shows a week, it's really important.
Very important.
Yeah, well, talk to me about the adaptation of this piece and what it means to have Jessica leading it and Amy's work in the adaptation and to be opening during Women's History Month.
I think really Amy is she's the MVP.
Yeah.
we're saying everything verbatim. There's no ad-libbing. So her words are really doing everything. And it wasn't hard at all to drop in or to make creative, solid, honest choices with Krogstad because her writing was so clear and specific and lended itself to it. And I think it's remarkable. I think it's an inspiring piece. I think Women's Month should be Women's Year. So I think it's important, not just because of this month, it's just important in general. And again, Jessica's a pro. She really came in and she really said yes and joined the ensemble and really allowed the space to be a creative space for everyone to show up. And I'm very grateful for that.
That's awesome. Congrats. That's all. One last question for you. It's called A Doll's House. Was there, when you were a kid, was there a doll or an animal or a toy or something that you always kept very close to you?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles hard Michelangelo toy, but it was like 12. It was 12 inches, and like the arms would break off and the legs would break off, and I lost the head at some point, but I clutched this thing. At one point, it had like 2 legs, 1 arm, and like no head, but it was still like my favorite toy in the world.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. Congratulations. Break a leg. Nice meeting you.
Take care, brother.
Thank you so much for doing this. Happy opening. We're here at the opening of A Doll's House. Craziness. You're back on Broadway. Talk to me about what it means to you to be back here.
It's very emotional to be back here. I mean, this is my first love. I started in school doing plays. I mean, I grew up doing theater. I was always in like this review called Best of Broadway in Sacramento. And we would take all the songs from the shows on Broadway and we perform them. And I used to watch the Tonys and record them on my VHS and then play it back throughout the year. And my dream was to work at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival and be in a part of an ensemble. Of course, my life has taken a much different turn, a bigger turn, and it has another incredible dream. But to come back has been very emotional to me because it's bringing me back to my feelings of childhood. And and that's all because of Jamie Lloyd. He's the one who really brought me back to the theater.
Talk to me about what it is to work with Jamie and Amy on this new adaptation of one of theater's most iconic plays.
Well, it's an absolute dream come true. I mean, if you're going to do A Doll's House, you don't want to perform it in some sense. I guess some people do as a museum piece. You know, you have to kind of look at it and go, well, why is this relevant today? What's the reason we're doing it right now? And Jamie Lloyd is the perfect director to do something like that because he likes to reimagine it. Look at it as though it's just been written. It's a brand new play. And also the brilliance of Amy Herzog and her adaptation is Nora has some culpability in what happens around her. I mean, she has agency. I think that's a problem. When a character is played solely as a victim and as you see them being victimized, they have no agency. You kind of have to ask yourself, well, how did they get in this position? Well, it's usually because they chose to be in that position. So how is she choosing every day to be there? And then when does she choose to leave? And that's an exciting thing for me to play.
Absolutely. I mean, your character, Nora, is a badass. I mean, she's truly like a very strong, empowered woman. You know, talk to me about the importance of telling that story right now and, you know, for all the young women in the world to like come see the show.
Well, I think Nora finds her way. I mean, when we first meet her, she's really lost. She has no sense of who she is. Even at the end of the play, she doesn't know who she is. But I think what is so badass is this sense of like, you know what? I'm going to stop playing the game. I'm going to stop pretending to be someone I'm not in order to get people to like me. And I'm going to try to figure out who I really am. And that might mean I'm going to go through some difficult times. It might mean I lose some friendships and I'll lose some people who mean a lot to me. But I have to love myself. And I think that's really important for anyone to see, more than just even young girls. I think like there are a lot of boys that need to learn that about themselves as well, and men, and this idea of like, how can we be our authentic selves? That is such an courageous and brave thing to be, to say, I am going to speak with my voice, and I'm going to be who I truly am. And I'm not going to try to force myself into something just to please others. And I hope people leave the theater questioning their own actions and wondering if they do that.
Yeah, I mean, I love that so much. Sorry. I'll just do one last question. Is that okay? I'll do, okay. When you were a kid, did you have, I mean, it's called A Doll's House, so did you play with any dolls, or did you have an animal or something that really means a lot to you?
Oh yeah, when I was a kid, I had a lot of toys.
Okay.
I had teddy bears and dolls and a lot of things.
Did you have a favorite? Like, which one was your, like, you did not part with?
I can't remember.
Yeah, you can't
I'm
remember.
sorry.
That's okay.
That's so long ago, sadly to say.
No, absolutely not. Well, thank you so much. Break a leg and happy opening.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
of course.
Nice to
It's so
talk to
nice
you.
meeting you. Thank you. Sorry. I'm so good. My name is Eli. It's so nice to
Eli.
meet you.
I'm Enver. It's nice
Enver,
to meet
it's
you.
so nice to meet you. Well, talk to me. We're here at the opening night of A Doll's House. How excited are we?
I'm incredibly excited. I kind of can't believe this is happening. It all happened so quickly. It's wild.
And talk to me about your role in the show and the process of, creating these wonderful masterpieces that you've created for these fabulous artists to wear.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm the co-costume designer of the play. It's been a really great process. Everything, we treated the costumes like clothing. That was kind of the language that we used in the rehearsal room. We wanted the actors to look like themselves in their real lives. And we wanted them to look like the characters. So it was important to us that we bought everything from a store. So it was just, we kind of watched them in rehearsal and understood how they presented themselves in real life. And then we went shopping and we bought a bunch of options and we tried on a bunch of things and then we kind of honed it down and finessed it. Yeah.
Talk to me about, kind of creating the story within the costumes. And did you maybe talk to the performers and be like, hey, this is, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Part of our process was that we had these kind of half an hour, 45-minute conversations with each actor where we spoke about how they felt the character should present themselves and where they meet the character in their own personalities and lives. And how they like to look and where they like to shop. So that was kind of the groundwork for everything we did. And I think the costumes are so elegant in this production and so beautiful and really, really simple. But I think that many people will see the really subtle differences between the various characters. There's textural differences and differences in silhouette and how things are put together that gives you a clue of their status and their relationship to each other and to the wider society. It's also very Scando chic, which I love. It's very Norwegian, knitwear, navy blue. It kind of just happened very organically, the whole thing.
Talk to me about A Doll's House is one of the theater's most iconic pieces of art, and now we have this new adaptation. Talk to me just about what it means to you just to be a part of this.
I mean, I think it hit me maybe right before previews. I was like, oh my God, I've designed a production of A Doll's House that is on Broadway. That's so iconic, actually, and I never think of, as a designer, you're just going from gig to gig, you know what I mean? And it's just your job. But I did take a moment to be wow, that's actually really incredible. This is a really seminal piece of work that hasn't been done in a while on Broadway, and I'm getting to do it. And how lucky am I? I kind of can't believe it. I studied A Doll's House in school, so it's wild to be doing it and to be doing it with this group of people. And for, I think the thing about these kinds of plays is you have all of these preconceived ideas about what the play is. And part of this process was just letting all of that go. Being we have an understanding of what this play is and how it should be performed and how it should look, and we're letting it go. And we're gonna make something else. We're gonna make something new that's true to the people in the room. And that, that was really special.
That's amazing. All right, one final question, and then I'll let you go and enjoy opening night. When you were a kid, did you have a doll or a stuffed animal or a toy that you just did not want to part with?
I did. I had a blue puppy, a stuffed puppy, and I'm pretty sure it still has weird vomit stains on it from when I was a toddler and would throw up on it. Yeah, but I would sleep with it every night.
Yeah, for sure. We've all been there, for sure.
And it was baby blue.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. Happy opening.
Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. It's so nice to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy.
Break
Are
a
you watching
leg.
the show?
Not tonight, but I will come. I'm
Okay.
going to come see it one day, and I
Okay.
can't wait.
Well, enjoy.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
We are here at the opening night of A Doll's House. Very exciting. Talk to me about how excited you are to bring this show back to Broadway.
I mean, it's an incredible opportunity. We're so fortunate, and to open a play directly on Broadway. I was thinking the other day, wow, why has anyone ever let me do that? That's kind of that's a huge risk. How fantastic. So yeah, no, it's just amazing, and just creating work in New York. This is the first time in a long time that I've created a production, directly for New York with New York artists. So yeah, it's a real honor and a real privilege. So I'm very excited tonight.
That's awesome. Well, I have to tell you, Jessica had some very high praise for you when she was talking about this show and being involved. She said you were a big part of that. So I'm curious to ask you, like, what has it meant to you to not only like work with Jessica, but this entire cast of just a star-studded cast?
Yeah, I mean, they are a remarkable cast, and they feel like a real ensemble. That they have. It's been a real collaboration between all of them, and of course, it's led by Jessica Chastain, and she's an incredible artist. I mean, I knew she was a great actor, but like literally, she blows my mind. It's unbelievable, and her dedication and her commitment, every single moment. She never does anything less than 100%. And it's like often very challenging psychologically and emotionally, this role. But right from the first read through all the way through rehearsals, even in tech rehearsals, anyone who works in theatre knows that technical rehearsals can be very arduous, very slow, very long hours. But every time she did even a moment of a scene, it would be with total commitment. And real emotional connection every time. It's been a real privilege to see it. It's like, I feel like we should filmed every moment of it, because it was like we had with this kind of select few people that got to see her create this, and the whole cast. They're just like it's a production in which I encourage the actors to find the characters in themselves and themselves in the characters. So they're not kind of putting on anything artificial. They're not like playing a role. Obviously, we don't have kind of big elaborate period costumes and kind of, lots of kind of naturalistic sets. So it really is all about them. It's about people in space and their interaction, their connection between each other.
Absolutely. I mean, this show is fantastic, and it's an iconic piece, and I'm so excited to see it. But this show has been around for hundreds of years, and so I'm curious to know, like, is there anything that you could tell the audiences without giving anything away, something that may surprise them that they've never seen in another production of A Doll's House?
Well, I think this is unlike, as far as I'm aware, unlike any other production of A Doll's House, and that's mainly because we've got rid of all of the kind of preconceived ideas of what A Doll's House is. That's the kind of very simple first idea, first gesture of the production, which is that if you take away all of the preconceived ideas, all of the ideas of, what Nora looks like, what costumes these characters wear, the room in which they exist in. There, of course, with these plays, a huge kind of like the legacy of the performance history of these plays. So if you kind of get rid of all of that completely to quite an extreme, then you're really seeing the play and crucially all of the characters from a different point of view. A lot of people have studied this play. These characters are defined in certain ways on paper, by academics through the ages. Nothing wrong with that. They're analysed in such detail, but they can be defined in a certain way. And the idea really with this is that we are sort of opening up the possibilities to seeing these characters in all of their complexity.
And talk to me about the importance of doing it, in today, like in opening up during Women's History Month and everything.
For sure, exactly, and it is a deeply political play in that way, and it's entering into a conversation outside of the theatre's walls, and of course that's why the play has endured for such a long time. But more than a political play, it's a deeply psychological play. So it really is about the complexity of human interaction. Working on the play, I sort of realised, more and more that so much of all human interaction is based on the need for approval. We want to be approved of by the other person, right? So we try to change our behavior to suit that person, because we know if we behave in a certain way or talk to them in a certain way, that we'll get that approval, we'll get that validation. And of course, the tragic thing is that the other person is doing exactly the same thing. So they're altering their behavior, and they want us to behave in a certain way that suits them. So we're constantly kind of playing this game and playing these roles to the point where you don't really know who you are anymore. And what I love and admire about the role of Nora, what Nora does is she goes, no, enough is enough. I'm going to kind of step away from this, and I'm going to go and find out who I really am, what I believe in, what my tastes are, what my opinions are, what my sense of morality is about. And it's not, as she says, it's not, as she has been taught by her father and then her husband and all of the books that are, frequently and mostly written by men that have taught her. She's got to go and discover that for herself, test out all those ideas, really challenge those ideas maybe, and work out who she is and what she believes in. And I think if we can all do that, then, and maybe if we can all take that away from the experience of watching the play, then all the better.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so excited to see the show. So I have one final question for you, and it's a bit of a fun one. With the title being A Doll's House, did you ever have, like when you were a kid, was there a doll or a toy or an animal, a stuffed animal or something that you always just carried around with you that meant so much to you as a child?
I did. I think it was called My Pet Monster. Is that a thing? My Pet Monster? I don't know. Like, look it up in the 80s. Okay. I was a kid in the 80s. So like, I think in the 80s, 90s, I think it was called My Pet Monster. It was an amazing kind of big, hairy kind of like creature with a big kind of green nose and kind of pink hair, I think, blue fur. He was kind of this kind of ferocious looking monster. And he was big, but I carried him around literally everywhere. We'd go to McDonald's, he would come with me. You know, like he'd sleep with me. I mean, like, you know, he's like literally like, yeah, was a huge part of my life for sure. I want to just check that is the name, but we should look it up. But they should bring that back.
They should. I want one. No, you've inspired me.
He's super cool. He's a bit punk rock.
Yeah, there you go. You're getting sponsored by them. You've inspired so many people now. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Congratulations and break a leg. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You're so spirited. Look at you. Young and spirited and beautiful.
Oh my God, you just made my day. Thank you so much.
Smile.
Oh, thanks.
Did your mother smile?
I definitely don't have his, so yeah, it's definitely my mom's. Well, I have his nose.
A smile is important, though.
Yeah, for sure.
It says good morning the right way.
There you go. Well, thank you for doing this. We're here at the opening night of A Doll's House.
Isn't it great? Who are you with?
I'm with Take a Bow. This is my own show, and I'm on the Broadway podcast network.
How wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations, you have your own show.
Oh, yes, you're very
How old are you, 18?
19. Yes, right on the money.
Congratulations, I'm
Great.
proud for you.
Oh, thank you. You must have a young kid or something.
No.
What? You knew my age, right on the money. Right?
Yeah, sort of, like you have that spirit.
Oh, you're very sweet. Well, how excited are we to be here at A Doll's House opening night?
I'm excited. I really love Jessica Chastain. I think she's brilliant.
And she's making it 10 years since she's been on Broadway. How excited are you to see her?
That's wonderful. Yeah. I'm glad.
And she's doing
what you're supposed to do as an actress. You do a film, you do the theater. You do television, you do everything. You know, you can't stop really doing things. It's important to do all the elements, all the things that are there for you. It's wonderful. It keeps you sharp and on your toes, you know. The theater is something very important because they're right there, you know. Yeah.
We love the live aspect too of it all.
And you know, Hemingway said a great thing. He said, people are places. Never forget that. It is great, isn't it? I do too.
I'm stealing that.
And I want you to. And New York has all the people. The people are great here. I mean, you go try to live in California. No. I left. I'm here. This is my home. But it's like that's what the theater's about too. People in New York go to the theater. It's so wonderful. And the older they are, the more they're there. I mean, I just think it's phenomenal. See, I've been living in California so long, so now I've changed and I've come back. So I've been here like 4 years and I'm so happy.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the most iconic pieces of theater, A Doll's House.
That's great. It's great.
Yeah. Are you excited to see a new adaptation of it all?
Well, I'm interested, I must say. Very brave of the lady who's writing it. I mean, thank God he's not alive. He might have an opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
He would definitely have an opinion.
But anyway, lovely
Thank you so much. Enjoy the show.
So well.
Thank you. You're very sweet. Guys, how are you? Good to see you too. Good. We're at the opening night of A Doll's House. How exciting. 10 years since Jessica Chastain's been on Broadway. Are we excited to see this?
I'm excited to see her. I'm excited to see the show. I'm excited to see Jamie. I'm excited for his version of the show, which we both know is just going to be wild and really great. I'm so excited.
Yeah, no, I'm just really, really excited to like strip everything away and just focus on Miss Chastain. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to see Jamie's interpretation. And
Sure. I mean, this is one of the most iconic pieces of theater that, you know, theater's ever seen. So, like, to see a new adaptation, I mean, what's the thought? Like, are you curious? Are you excited to see a new reimagined version of this piece?
I'm excited for a reimagined version that was rewritten by a woman, which I think is really thrilling and really exciting. Excited that it's one act. There's no intermish. We love that. But and I don't know about the rewriting. Like, obviously, I have not seen it yet, but knowing Jamie, it's going to be epic.
I think my last time getting to experience A Doll's House was in college. So to get to reintroduce myself to such an iconic piece and through such new voices, I'm giddy. I'm very excited.
This cast is iconic. Literally everyone from Jessica Chastain, but like the rest of the cast is insane too. So very exciting stuff. I gotta ask you guys, it is called A Doll's House. Did you guys play with dolls growing up, or did you have any toy or anything that had a lot of significance to you when you were a kid?
Oh, I did. I had a whole lot of Barbie dolls. And I had the holiday collectibles that I know are still in their boxes in my parents' attic. They're up there.
Yeah. I was more focused on the house part. I was like builder toys, like Lincoln Logs, Connects, Legos, anything that I could build structures, especially ones that would move. That was always my exciting place.
Yeah. All right. Well, enjoy the show. Thanks for being here. Enjoy.
Hey, how are you? Sure, I got time. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
My husband's in there.
Oh, okay.
Because he hates these things.
Oh, he doesn't like these? It's okay. Well,
it's all right. No,
you
I
do
am.
enough for two people.
Yeah, I know. He hates
You give
these
it your
things.
all. Oh my
What
God.
do you got? What is this?
It's my podcast.
That's your
that you
thing.
were
That's
on.
right. I know. No, you see so many of these things now.
Yeah,
That's all.
It's true. It's true.
So,
Everyone's doing their
Who
own
are you
thing.
with? Go on.
The FBI. No, how are you? We're here at the opening night. 10 years, over 10 years since Jessica Chastain's been on Broadway.
I know. What was the last one? It was the crazy one. It was.
There's a lot of crazy ones.
Well, I know that, but it was a cool play. Well, the Heiress.
Oh, okay.
The Heiress.
Yeah. Very excited to see
That's
this.
my brain, by the way.
Hey,
my
I
brain
feel you.
just.
It's a
Well,
Thursday
I
night.
can have all sorts of weird facts and figures come into my brain. I don't know if your audience even knows about Ibsen, but this play was very controversial when it was first laid out back in the 1850s, I believe. Women couldn't think for themselves, couldn't do for themselves. So what Ibsen wrote was so controversial. So we are actually going to see, I believe, kind of history made. Amy Herzog and everything. I mean, being able to adapt this, and it's her Broadway debut, which is exciting. So, yeah.
Are you does an adaptation of a play, especially an iconic piece such as A Doll's House, does that excite you? Does that leave you curious about the show?
It doesn't. Nothing bothers me. I always like to see something new anyway. Yeah. And if when I was working with Steve Sondheim. Yeah. When I was working with Steve, Ibsen's dead, and so is Steve now. But the thing is, if it's good and it can be worked like Shakespeare, it can be reworked in any way you want to do it. And I believe that's in Ibsen's case, and Chekhov as well. That's the same kind of idea. So, I'm looking forward to it. I know. Come on, it's opening night. I just get to sit and watch people struggle, which is awesome.
Oh my God! Stop it! I gotta ask one last question,
Yeah.
and then I'll let you go. I mean, it's called A Doll's House. Did you have a doll or a toy or anything that you just loved as a kid?
I had the G.I. Joe, and then I also had, you're way too young for this, but there was a $6 Million Man action figure, and he had electronics in his arm, so you could roll up his arm and you could look through the back of his head because he had X-ray vision, or like you could telephoto. Oh, it's really bizarre. Yeah, look it up on YouTube, you'll see it. The $6 Million Man action figure, that's what I had. Oh, and Evel Knievel. Evel Knievel bike that you could pump up and it would jump and stuff like that.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the show. Thank you so much. We're here at the opening night of A Doll's House. How excited are we to see this new reimagined adaptation of the show?
I'm so excited to see what Amy has done with the show, what Jamie has done with the show. These are two incredible artists in their own rights, right? And to see what they're going to do to this amazing work is going to be incredible. Also, this amazing cast. Yeah.
And they seem like the nicest group of people. They're all pros and veterans, but they all seem like so tight-knit, type of thing. I'm so excited for you to see the show. How important do you think this show is right now? I mean, there's so much going on, and it's kind of like, well, first of all, it's Women's History Month, and, there's so much women empowerment in this show, in the character Nora especially. She stands up for herself and everything. So how important do you think it is to tell this story today?
I think it's always important to revisit classics like this and see how they measure up in our current moment, right? To see if we have really made progress. I think it's really important to use these things as a litmus, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, one last question, and then I'll let you go. It's called a doll's house, so I gotta ask: did you ever have a doll or a toy or something that you had as a kid?
I had a My Buddy doll that, I took everywhere with me, and I'm pretty sure he was my sort of first scene partner. You know what I mean? Yeah, I used to like play out things with My Buddy, you know?
I'm obsessed with that. That's so true for any theater kid or anything. Oh my God, I'm obsessed. Well, enjoy the show. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you. Hi, Tasha. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm Eli with the Broadway Podcast Network. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
You have a good podcast voice.
Oh my God, thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
so sweet.
I'm obsessed with podcasts.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, well, now you're on one, so
Okay.
there you go.
Oh, man.
Very
That's
exciting.
so exciting.
No
This is
nerves.
a first.
It's not as exciting as the opening night of a doll's house.
I
though,
know.
is
This
it?
is true.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So, can you talk to me about the importance of, like, bringing this production and show back to Broadway? I mean, it's a historic show, so
Yep.
talk to me about the importance of this particular production and what you're excited for people to see.
The thing about Jamie Lloyd, a British director, and this is his first opening in America. Normally his shows start in London and then they transfer.
Yeah.
So it's so exciting to be a part of the first American company to open a play of his, and just his approach to especially classical theater, and just taking away all. Can I say? Bullshit?
Yeah, absolutely, you can. You can say whatever you
I
want.
just did.
This is your night.
And I don't want to call it bullshit, but just stripping away everything and really sort of what's left on the stage is beautiful to look at, not only, but very simply sort of presented. There's no pomp and circumstance. It's all about the relationships between these people, what they mean to each other, how they interact, how they react to one another, how things change based on what somebody says or does. And so the stripped down version of it makes it incredibly accessible. Like, I hope a lot of young people, especially young women, come and see this play because it remains timely, and it's a force. This show, it's a force.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the importance for like young women and just women in general. I mean, can you talk about the importance of like opening a play like this during Women's History Month?
Well, I mean, we couldn't have gotten
great
luckier.
time.
We
Yeah.
couldn't have gotten luckier. But as I was saying earlier, that how relevant this play is, I guarantee you there are women living 4 blocks north, 4 blocks south, 4 blocks east, 4 blocks west, 4 stories high, that are living in a similar situation to where Nora starts, and not necessarily where she ends up. But it's important because it's still happening.
Absolutely. Talk to me about the relationships. You touched on relationships with characters earlier. Talk to me about the relationships with this wonderful cast and creative team.
We love each other. We get on stage an hour before the show. We play theater games. We run around. This is the quintessential definition of a company. Yeah. We are a company, and we got each other for life.
That's awesome, and that's so cool to hear because, I mean, all of you are just veterans to everything, the industry, the stage, the theater.
And to have Jessica back after being away for 10 years, and she's the hardest worker, the most astonishingly talented person, generous, has the best laugh, best sense of humor. I mean, she's an ambassador to our craft.
That's honestly so cool to hear. Like, as like a fan and as a
really
reporter.
could not. Everything that you think that you want her to be, she literally is.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
True pro. I love
Yes.
it. Well, 2 more questions before you, and then we'll let you go. Since you said you're a big fan of podcasts, if you were to start a podcast, what would it be about, and who would be your dream co-host?
Oh, co-host. That's interesting. I don't know.
It's like picking your favorite child.
There's probably my husband. I would probably choose him because he's the smartest guy I know, and it would definitely be about true crime. Oh, you know who else that I would pick is. Oh God, I'm not going to say his name right. I think his last name is. Oh God, I'm sorry in advance. His podcast is called True Crime Bullshit, and it's about Israel Keys, who is a dead serial killer. I love true crime, but I love him. Yeah.
My favorite TV show right now is Only Murders in the Building, so I feel the true crime kind
I
of
think
thing.
his name is Josh Hallmark, and I'm sorry if I got that wrong.
Well, we'll have to make that happen. And one last question. Yes. Did you have like a favorite childhood doll that you used to play with? And if so, which was it?
I still have him. He's Dr. Doolittle. Yes. And so he has like the hard plastic head, and then he used to have a string that he would say things. But I think it's his plastic skull, and the rest of him is cloth. He is whoever played him in the movies back in the day, famous, like Richard Cheek, I can't remember. But yeah, I still have him. Yes.
Iconic. Well, congratulations. Break the leg. Yes, it's so nice to meet you.